Arik Armstead said something very interesting about Brock Purdy. Let's talk about that and more right now. What's up? Happy Saturday. Welcome to Huddle Up. We're your host, Grant Cohn, Maj Sports, Nick Talks Niners. Not a lot going on right now, of course, but Arik Armstead just went on Fox Sports 1, First Things First with Nick Wright and Kevin Wildes and Chris Broussard, and talked about the Niners. Thank goodness, because who the hell cares about the Jacksonville Jaguars? So we're going to talk about Arik Armstead's take on Purdy. I think it really explains a lot of what's going on right now with the 49ers. We'll talk about sort of new wrinkles that we may see on offense and defense this year. But first, this episode is brought to you by Factor. Summer's here, more sun, more light, more time to do all the stuff that makes summer so special. And the number one thing you don't want to do is cook. I'm a great cook. I just choose not to do the cooking because I don't have time. And the thing about Factor is it takes 2 minutes. Just pop it in the microwave. It's delivered right to your door. Chef-crafted, dietitian approved. It's delicious. Get started at factormeals.com/Cohn50off and use code Cohn50off to get 50% off plus free shipping on your first box. That's code Cohn50off at factormeals.com/Cohn50off. All right. Arik Armstead, Fox Sports 1. Here's the deal. It is a steal, right? You guys know about Factor. Factor's delicious.
100%.
Yeah. Why are you guys in such good shape, Factor?
Factor.
Yep. 100%.
Yeah, that's right. Okay. Armstead goes on, and the question, Nick Wright is always like, he's like the designated Brock Purdy hater, right? He's always saying that Brock Purdy isn't good, and he's this and that. Fine.
Yep.
So they bring in Arik Armstead to sort of like set the record straight to Nick Wright's face. And Armstead, he's a thoughtful guy. He's not going to come in here and just be disrespectful to Nick Wright. So he's like, no, I understand. Christian McCaffrey really did help. But the thing about Brock is that from the wide receivers perspective, because I talked to the wide receivers, what Armstead said, before Brock, he didn't use Jimmy's name. It's like, if you weren't the first guy in the progression, you knew you weren't going to get the ball, and there was no point in running those clear out routes with any type of conviction because the ball wasn't coming to you. But with Brock, he would sometimes go through his progressions quickly or just predetermine before the snap that he's going to. And then Armstead used the name explicitly, Ayuk. He's like, maybe if Ayuk isn't open, isn't that open, Brock would still give him a chance anyway. And the wide receivers really liked that. What do you make of that answer?
Yeah. I feel like that's what we've seen, no? Since Jimmy, with Jimmy, Kyle liked Jimmy because it was like almost robotics. Like it was like, hey, do this, throw the ball here. Like this guy's going to be open. That's what Kyle liked because he designs his offense and he thinks he's the smartest guy in the world. And he thinks this guy's going to be open because he designed it that way. You know what I mean? Which is nice. But I played with a quarterback and an offensive coordinator in high school. It was very similar. But he could read, but our coach kind of was like, hey, go to this guy as the option just because I'm scheming it open. He's going to be open. Whereas if you're a wide receiver in that kind of offense, it almost seems like, hey, I'm wide open. I get this plays kind of designed for this guy to be necessarily more open, but I'm wide open and he's not. And that's you know what I mean? So it can get frustrating from a wide receiver standpoint. So I could totally see that. And then with Brock, it's there was so many off scheduled plays that happen because he can move, use his legs. And that's kind of a wide receiver's dream. You know what I mean? There's obviously plays that are schemed up for, but how many times in the NFL a play breaks down? Especially with our line last year, it did happen a lot. And Brock was able to extend plays, and that literally is a wide receiver's dream, in my opinion. So, yeah, I agree with that. I guess what I'm saying.
I agree too. Didn't Armstead said he said that Brock Purdy unlocks the offense, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think he unlocks the
forces
offense.
everyone to run their routes at full speed because no one knows if they're going to get the ball or not.
And he uses his legs. I feel like with Jimmy G, Jimmy would just stand there, and if he Jimmy would run, but it would looks like he's running in molasses because he's slow. So I agree with Arik Armstead. I can't really say anything else. I agree with him.
All right, here's what I was thinking about this. I agree with him too. It's kind of obvious, but I think what's interesting is he basically said he won the wide receivers over. Yeah. Okay. But Debo didn't have a problem with Jimmy. Jimmy gave Debo the ball a lot. Yeah. Kittle never had a problem.
That's not even Jimmy, right? Based on that argument, it's not even Jimmy. It's Kyle giving the ball to Debo. So of course he's not gonna have a problem with Jimmy because he's getting him the ball.
Yeah,
You know what
I
I
feel
mean?
like Debo's like every quarterback that the Niners have had. Like I feel like he loved Jimmy and he loved Purdy.
Well, hold on, stick with me on this one. What I'm saying is
Okay.
like I don't think Debo and Kittle and Juszczyk were like clamoring for a new quarterback. I feel like they were cool with Jimmy, and the person who really wasn't cool with Jimmy was Ayuk. They never really had a great connection. I feel like Jimmy would go to Debo, he would go to Kittle, he would go to McCaffrey, and Ayuk was sort of a afterthought, although he would still throw to him. And I think they never really had the connection. Purdy replaces him, and all of a sudden, who's Purdy going to? Ayuk. Ayuk. And I think he was vocal about how much he liked Purdy, how all in he was with Purdy right away. And I think that carried over until maybe the Super Bowl. And then 3 catches for Ayuk in the Super Bowl. And I feel like maybe I'm wrong, but things haven't been the same between those two or Ayuk and the team. Maybe people interpret it as Ayuk
I don't think
or I don't know.
I think it's Ayuk and Kyle. Like I still go back to that. I know like a lot of people are like kind of like what's the word, like rebuking that, or like, you know what I mean, like I don't know what the right word is, but they keep saying like, oh, you know, he doesn't have a problem with Kyle, but like you can't tell me the reason why Ayuk got 3 catches wasn't Kyle. Like that game was so clearly schemed up to be a McCaffrey and Debo game. That's it. Like Ayuk was open a lot, and it almost seemed like Kyle was like, Brock, don't really, like, let's look to target McCaffrey,
but hold on.
Debo. Like,
but the whole thing with Armstead, like that differentiated Brock from Jimmy, is that Brock will go off script. Brock will make his own decisions. Just because Kyle's calling passes for Debo, Brock can say, you know what? No, I like this matchup for Brandon. And even if Brandon isn't open, I trust Brandon. And it felt like that didn't carry over to the Super Bowl, that mentality. All of a sudden, it was the Debo show. It was the Kittle show. It was the McCaffrey show. And I don't know, maybe that's the right call. Like even Jennings, like on the critical plays of the game, the 3rd down in the fourth quarter, the 3rd down in the red zone in overtime, under pressure, unblocked rusher, blindly throwing to Jennings, whereas I feel like I felt, hey, blindly throw it to me. I'm open.
Yeah.
He's not.
Yeah. I mean, that's fair, but it's also a young quarterback in Brock.
Yeah.
It was just like, that's his biggest game of his career, right? And like, I see what you're saying, but also Ayuk has like never really been like I mean, he'll run intermediate outs and, you know, crossing routes, but like that's Jennings' game. You know what I mean? So like, whereas like Ayuk's kind of more like the crossers, the posts, right? The outs, like, or the corner routes, like
15 yards.
That's kind of what, like that's kind of what his bread and butter is. So I feel like when you get through a whole season, you're in a Super Bowl, like Brock's used to, hey, there's pressure in my face. Like Jennings is going to be the guy that's open because his route tree is specific to that timing. You know what I mean? Whereas like Ayuk really wasn't. And so I feel like it was just a mixture of like those things, then also just Kyle not really scheming a lot for Ayuk. And that's, I mean, Ayuk said it, like he was frustrated after the Super Bowl, and I don't think he was mad at Brock. Like I really don't.
I just feel like with Ayuk, ever since he's been here, he's had, whether he's right or wrong, he's sort of acted alienated at times. Like I don't really feel like I'm really one of the guys or valued as much as I should be. And we can decide like who he's mad about, who he blames, who's responsible. But I feel like one of the things that tipped the scales for Purdy early was that he got Ayuk involved, and he made Ayuk feel like not only are you one of the guys, but you're wide receiver 1 on this team, dude. Like you are the future. You're the best guy. You're the number 1 weapon. And then it kind of stopped. It stopped in the Super Bowl. He didn't really campaign for Ayuk to get the extension last year. I mean, Ayuk was just one of the guys after skipping training camp. I don't know. I just feel like one of the things Purdy did so well was bring Ayuk in. And once again, he's acting alienated. And I think the guy who can really fix this is Brock. You can do it, dude.
I feel like Brock, this was the kind, like, I don't know if you guys would agree with me, but I feel like this year was kind of the first year Brock was going off script. Like I felt like during the second year of his career when he was going, like when we went to the Super Bowl, he would go off script sometimes. I feel like this was the first year that Brock actually was going off script. Maybe that's why he didn't have a great year, and maybe he should follow Kyle a little bit more. I don't know. This whole situation, I don't know. I don't really understand what Armstead's saying.
There's different versions of going off script. So like, I think early on in his career, he would be like, okay, you're 4th in the progression, but I see pre-snap that you have a good matchup. Like it's going to seem like I'm going through my progressions quickly, but really I'm just going to you.
I'm aiming for you. Okay.
I'm just going to you, but I feel like last year it was like indecision. The opposite, like, okay, I don't really know where I want to go on this play. Like, you're not open. Let me scramble left.
That's exactly what it felt
right.
like.
That's
He
sort of
was
how
scrambling
Caleb
way
Williams
too much
plays.
last year.
Yeah,
last year he was scrambling way too much.
He was just indecisive.
Yeah.
If you want to scramble, great, do it. Like that's what Jaden Daniels. You watch him play; he seems very decisive and doesn't really do anything super flashy. As like Brock last year was like, hold on, let me extend this play 6 seconds. Like, why don't you not do that? How about you make a decision? That's like you used to. Like that's sort of how you became the franchise quarterback here.
Yeah.
Anyway. Okay. More from the Armstead interview. I guess just watching him talk about the 49ers made me feel like he really was a leader on this team. I mean, he was the longest tenured player. He's one of the older players in the team.
For sure.
And, he's kind of political too. I mean, he's not thinking just about football. He's the Walter Payton Man of the Year. He's a philanthropist. I'm guessing he's more on the left side of the political spectrum. I just thought about Bosa when I was watching Armstead talk. And Bosa last year, I felt with it was an election year. He made it real clear who he was voting for. We knew, but it seemed like he almost made the Niners kind of like a platform to campaign for one of the candidates, the president. I just don't think we would have done that with Armstead on the team. I don't think Armstead would have appreciated it. And I think Armstead probably would have said something like, hey man, not here, not on the field, not in this uniform, because you're representing me too. And I don't like it. So maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like someone needs to keep Bosa in check and not yell at him, but just say, man, we're going to keep this football this year. Is there anyone on this team that can do that? Keep him in check.
Trent Williams, that's the first one that comes into my mind. But Grant, I think you're looking too much into it. I honestly feel if Armstead was on this team last year, Bosa would have done the exact same thing.
Do you think so?
Like,
yeah,
possible.
I think so
I,
too,
I don't think
come?
Bosa. I think Bosa gives zero shits. I think he's doing that exact same thing. But if I had to pick one player that would actually keep Bosa in check this year, it's Trent. I think that's Nick's
Armstead
answer
would have
too.
said something about it though if Bosa had done it.
I do think Armstead would have probably said like hey,
him.
like why are you doing that? But I don't think Armstead would have been like, hey, don't do that. I think
Fair
Nick
enough.
would have done it either way.
Yeah, you can't tell a grown man what to do, but yeah.
No. And when it's if it's about politics, we all know Nick Bosa. He loves his politics. He's gonna do what it has to take to.
I just feel like Bosa is very strong from this side of the spectrum. I feel like Armstead's maybe equally strong from the other side of the spectrum, and there was like a counterbalance that maybe balanced out the team. Then last year you had very much of like this side of the political balance winning out, just like it did with the entire country. I don't know if that's good for a team. I mean, there's so many people that probably don't have as big of a voice as Bosa who don't agree with him and are like, well, we're on the same team. And I don't know. I just think for the togetherness of the team, can Salah be like, hey, yo, Nick, we get it. We get where you come from, man. We understand. Let's not do the Trump dance after sacks this year.
I do feel like he shouldn't have done that. I feel Nick Bosa should have done all of this on his free time and not when he was wearing a 49ers jersey. Maybe just do it on your Instagram or something. Maybe post you doing the dance on your Instagram, something like that. Like, I don't know. But
you have a huge platform yourself. You don't need to like co-opt the Niners platform at the same time.
Exactly.
Yeah. Anyway,
I don't know.
That's my last thing. Just watching Armstead being like, I never liked Armstead because he always made it personal with me, and I thought he was kind of a jerk. But in terms of like the hierarchy and balance of the team, I think he kind of played a role, and I think we saw like what not having him in the locker room did to the team last year. And I wonder if they can sort of fill that vacuum. If Salah can do it. You said Trent Williams. I don't know if Trent Williams isn't going to be the man of the year. I don't know if he's thinking about, I don't know Trent Williams, but it seems like he thinks about his next contract. And
I mean, I think man of the year is awesome. Like man of the year is awesome. Like don't get me wrong. And like, I think people do look up to that, like these players, and I'm not doubting he wasn't a good leader. Like I do think he's a great leader, but also Trent, I mean, it seems to me like, whether it's contracts, whether it's life stuff, like a lot of players are pretty outspoken about going to Trent for advice. And they always say like, yeah, Trent gives me the best advice. And like, every time I hear Trent talk, like, I feel like he's got a really good head on his shoulders. I just think he's not like necessarily more outspoken. I think he's, I guess, more kind of closed off and only.
He just seems like kind of
I don't know,
out for himself. And that's okay. Maybe I'm wrong. I just feel like Armstead had a bigger vision, And that doesn't make him a better guy. I think Trent Williams is essentially a good guy, and I think Armstead can be a real jerk. But I think Armstead's thinking bigger. Whereas, like, here's what I'm talking about. When Armstead was on the team, he had a podcast. And he would bring teammates on the podcast. He'd trend on the podcast. It felt like he made it a point to bring players who the team didn't necessarily promote very much as like a voice, like Trevarius Ward, Dre Greenlaw, guys who left are gone. And they said they went for whatever reasons, but like they didn't want to be on this team anymore. And I feel like I wonder if certain players feel like, you know what? I don't really have a voice here anymore. This isn't like Ayuk. You know what I mean? Like this isn't my team. I feel like an outsider on my own team.
Do you not feel like Ayuk's been like alienated though the whole time? Like kind of from draft day. Like they did since he was in the they did trade up for him. Yeah, they did trade up for him. But it's like he wasn't really used that much as a rookie. Like it was in the doghouse after that. Yeah. And then ever since then, like it's not like you can't tell me he didn't feel alienated when Jimmy was on the team. Like he wasn't really getting the ball. True. I feel like that 1 year we had where like we went to the Super Bowl, like Brock was feeding him. And like, you started to hear like him and Brock get paired together. Like, oh, this is kind of the duo of the future. Like they're going to want to pay Ayuk. So, Brock can have his number one receiver and have his guy. And that was kind of the only time where we're like, yeah, like Ayuk's a part of this. Like he's like, like his talent is worthy of like that spot. Where it's like I've always felt like his talent's worthy of that spot, but he's never really gotten that credit for it. I don't know. It's like an interesting situation.
Grant, you talk about Arik Armstead and like how he was a big piece of the defense. Who do you think could like be the next Arik Armstead to keep Bosa actually like who do you think's going to keep Bosa in check? If you had to
it's funny. I don't think Fred Warner wants to be that guy.
No, I was gonna say that. I was gonna say Fred, but I was like, I don't think he wants to do that.
No. I think it could be Ayuk. If Ayuk felt like if I felt like he had a future here, maybe it would be him. But Ayuk seems so alienated. He's almost like, you know what?
Ayuk doesn't even speak English.
To trade me when I couldn't even walk, man. What do you want me to do?
Half the thing Ayuk says on his YouTube, it doesn't even make sense. Like the guy, he doesn't even speak English.
Arik Armstead is very, very in control of his message.
Yes,
and Ayuk
gets his point across.
Yeah. What about Demo?
Well, he just got arrested.
So, yeah, but that was. I mean that shit.
It was kind of stupid.
That shit's stupid. But I feel like Demo is like one of those guys where he's has a good head on his shoulders.
He's too young.
Yeah, like it's Demo's weird because he's mature, but also like kind of like out there at the same time. You know what I mean? But like I don't know. I feel like it'd be kind of a good mix with Bosa. Like I feel like they get along.
Good call. It's a really good call. Yeah, I mean Mike Hill is entirely too young. So is Malik Mustafa. But Demo's an up and coming captain. Hey man, you don't speak for all of us, Nick. We respect your political beliefs, but like respect ours and let's keep it football. How about that? Simple as that. And then, like someone here is saying right now, hold on. You talk about Bosa as a Biden-Harris supporter. In the end, neither would have mattered with the end results in the sport. Get over it. Okay. I felt this way about Kaepernick when he was doing this 10 years ago. Like, I don't like it when football players
it's not about the view.
This is bigger than football. Yeah. All right, then do this away from the football field. Then, like,
exactly.
If it's bigger than football,
it's not even about like who they're supporting. Like, that's besides the point of what Grant's making. Like, the point Grant's making is like, you're here to play football. Like, if you care about that stuff, awesome. Do it outside of football. Like,
what do people say? Keep the main thing. That's all I'm asking.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Dangerous Days Jeeping says, "Love you, G. I watched 5 people, 4-man front, and Pops. Name of the show: Grant talks with toddlers. I kid." No. Jeremy
Nick is literally 27. Like, I don't understand it. Everyone,
I'm not young, but it is what it is. And then Maj is young, but he's 6'8". So you know what I mean?
Exactly.
I don't know what tall is.
6'8". I'm actually 6'7", but I appreciate it.
Let's talk scheme. Let's do a really high level football. Not Grant talks with toddlers. No. We're going graduate level football talk right now. Okay.
Yep.
So Grant talks with toddlers.
So we know that Kyle needs to add something to this offense. He needs a wrinkle. For a while, it was Debo. He caught the defense off the league off guard. Christian McCaffrey, all the different ways the Niners used him, caught the league off guard. They need something new. So let's help them out. Let's do a brainstorming session, a new wrinkle for the 49ers offense in 2025. It could be a new personnel grouping. It could be a a new emphasis in terms of a play style type, more of this, less of that. Go wherever you want. I have some ideas.
Let me cook.
I have Nick. I have a very easy
right,
one. It's like very bland. It's use the rookies more. It's very bland. I just feel like we drafted 12 rookies. We should be using them. Not all of them, but a lot of them, because you never know. You could find a new wrinkle and they could be a new key piece to the offense. I feel like that's a very bland answer, but you told me about this question. I was like, you know what? That's the first one I have for you.
All right, let me cook here. Okay. My idea is, since Ayuk's going to be out, right? Obviously. Demarcus Robinson also going to be out probably 3 games.
I love where you're going. I love where you're going with this. Yeah. Say it, Nick.
Why don't we cook something like the Chiefs have had fast, speedy receivers, and they're not very good. Like, they're not good. Like, granted, they have Patrick Mahomes, so it helps. But why don't we take a wrinkle in the offense where we're using Jordan Watkins, Jacob Cowling, like we're using speed demons, stretching the field, and I feel like that would be so electric.
Yeah, but Nick,
you have too much speed now. Like, you could have Garendo in the slot with that group, like.
But Nick, what would you say to people that say that Purdy can't throw the ball far?
But it doesn't matter, because if you have that much speed and you're stretching the field, and even if you throw Garendo in the slot and then you have McCaffrey in the backfield, you can't tell me McCaffrey's not going to break a linebacker's ankles when there's so much room on the field.
Garendo and McCaffrey on the field at the same time. I love that. That's
dude, and Watkins, like, dude, I just think if you have so much speed and are able to stretch the field, like McCaffrey's going to be wide open, or Garendo in the slot. Like, Garendo's shown he can run some routes, like, and I think he can learn from McCaffrey, and giving him time in the slot, or running routes out of the backfield, like, he's only going to get better. I just think we need speed. Like, I've been calling for this for years now. Like, we haven't really had that speed, and that's why I was excited about Jacob Cowling, even though he didn't play. That's why I was huge on all the Ole Miss wide receivers, because they're fast and really twitchy and have good hands. So literally, I was stoked that we got Jordan Watkins. Like, I didn't care what Ole Miss receiver we got. I was like, we have to draft one of them. So my wrinkle is just speed. It needs to be speed.
I feel like, I don't know if this is a wrinkle, but I feel like just keeping it simple. I feel like Kyle Shanahan last year, he tried to do too much, and it was just like he was calling weird plays, doing a bunch of weird stuff. I think just keeping it simple. I don't know if that's a wrinkle.
Let me give you some wrinkles. Here's what I'm thinking. So, one, I'd like to see, instead of the Niners have a base 21 personnel offense like we've seen for the last 8 years, we use check. You just spent all this money on Luke Farrell, man. I'd like to see two tight ends.
Use them,
because the Niners have always been such a left-hand dominant running game. Like, you put Kittle next to Trent, you run that way, and wow, it's great. But like, what if you could actually run the other direction, and defenses had to honor that? I think I think they could have a better running game, passing game out of 12. I want to see what that looks like. And then we talked about earlier in the show, Purdy held on to the ball too long last year. It was way too much. The air yards were too much. The time to throw was too much. When he's at his best, there's a lot of throws to running backs. And I don't think it should just be checkdowns. I'd like Kyle to call more passes to running backs. And that means like more screens. I think one of the things that like Goff and Baker really benefited from last year was just
an
incredible array of screens that are just straight up layups. Two in Miami, man. Just a ton of screens.
Sure.
I'd love to see Kyle go in his bag and have spend an extra month this offseason coming up with new screens. And for like guys like Garendo. Garendo has 4.3 speed, dude. I'd love to see you throw at least one screen to Garendo a game, one screen to McCaffrey a game, one screen to Watkins a game. That's going to make Brock's life so much easier. So I want to start there.
Yeah, and it keeps the defense honest. Like, if you're trying to stretch the field, it keeps the defense honest when you're throwing screen passes. Like, they have to play up. And now that we have the speed, like, I agree, that's one huge thing. And then, I mean, on our show, I feel like this was like 6 months ago, but this was a while ago. But like on our show, I was talking about how they need to pull a page out of the Bills book, like their playbook. Like, the Bills were running 2 tight end sets 80% of the time, and what they would cook up, it was so fun to watch, man. Like, they were killing it with 2 tight end sets. And I would love to have, I mean, it's just like what we've been wanting on the defensive side of the ball, like just more creativity. Like, I don't want it being so bland. And like, to your point, like, we've ran that same personnel so much every year. It's like, dude, let's mix it up. Like, it's okay to run that personnel, but like, let's do it, 50% of the time instead of 95% of the time.
Yeah, because it was catching defenses off guard in 2019. It's 2025. You got to have something new and stay one step ahead. So I think just Garendo in general, like, you can't overuse McCaffrey. That's the quickest way to ruin your season is to get him hurt in September because he gave him 20-something touches. So Garendo, like, he doesn't have the vision, but he's going to pop a couple long ones a game. And as a receiver, I think there's a lot of potential there. He played receiver in high school. He's a deep threat. I mean, those wheel routes to him were effective last year. And the idea again of like, you have Kittle and Jennings on one side and you can like draw the defense's attention over there. And then boom, it's a screen to Garendo on the other side. Those are potential touchdowns. This guy's a home run hitter. Yeah. I love the idea of what he could do if you use him the right way.
100%.
And of course there's Cowing and there's Watkins too, but you got to get the ball out of Purdy's hands quicker this year. You got to make his life easier. You did that with Jimmy for years. I used to call him the Jimmy gimmies, like layups. Where there needs to be more of those.
With this offensive line, yes, Purdy has to be releasing the ball way quicker.
Yeah, we'd love to see him throw it deep to Jordan Watkins and Jacob Cowing because that would add a beautiful element to the offense. But you kind of have to have the offensive line to match. And we'll see.
I think it'll help. As much as people joke about the Luke Farrell signing, like I do think that's going to help. Like the amount of times I've had to watch Kittle stay in the line and block when you're just taking away one of the best receivers, especially tight end receivers of like all time. Like literally, he's that guy. And him just watching him block, and I know he's one of the best blockers, like blocking tight ends of all time too. Like he's so good, but I just hate like seeing him getting taken away from the offense. So having Luke Farrell, I think it's going to help a lot.
Yeah. I agree. I think he's really going to help their play action passing game because I think what they want to do is put him on a D end, have him like hold up long enough and have Kittle out in the pattern. So if he can actually do that, they'll be way better in play action. But I want to see screens mixed in addition. And I don't know, I guess.
Let's give Kittle some screens.
No, the last thing we need to talk about is we need to give Kyle some ideas for the red zone. He needs new ideas for the red zone. And I feel like just asking Brock to like force the ball into the end zone to Kittle and Jennings. Yeah, he can do that a few times. It's like, a month, but they need easier ways to score beyond just handing off. Again, I think that's where throwing the ball to your running backs comes in,
Yes.
Screens come in.
We got to hope and pray that CMC is back to healthy because CMC was a red zone demon when we went to the Super Bowl. So
he was.
But also too, if you think about it, like that goes back to the point that I just made about Luke Farrell. Like how many times last year did we see George Kittle is a red zone demon? But the problem is with how much Shanahan wants to run the ball in the red zone, he's blocking the whole time. So
now you have Luke Farrell.
Away that threat completely. Yes. And now you have that and Kittle. So it's like you could run play action and Kittle's catching everything. There's so many times you watch Kittle catch touchdowns and you're just
the Patriots game.
I don't even understand it. Yeah.
The Patriots game when he
catches some crazy touchdowns.
Nick, the Patriots game when he mossed those two defenders, like literally just caught it over them. And then even the Seahawks game when Purdy placed it in his bread. I like that point, Nick. I like that point.
All right, let's ask it from the other way. What are some wrinkles you'd like to see the Niners implement on defense? They were pretty vanilla last year under Nick Sorensen. So they have the element of surprise. Now they got a new defensive coordinator. They can implement a lot of wrinkles. What would you like to see something different?
I think it's just blitzes, man. Like we need more blitzes, more fake pressure, simulated blitzes. Like we need that. You can't have the quarterback knowing exactly what defense we're going to play because we're just standing there. Like, you know what I mean? Let's talk about that. It's just
I got a word for you. I got a word for you. Disguise.
Exactly.
Disguise, whether it's pressure or coverage.
Thing. Yeah, it's the same. This is what makes no sense to me. Is the same thing that the Seahawks were doing with Pete Carroll in the last couple of years before he got fired and Mike McDonald took over. So bland. And you can't tell me Shanahan wasn't licking his lips going, I know exactly what to call because I'm watching what's going to happen. Like, what? And then we're doing the same thing. It just made no sense to me. So, we need disguise. We need simulated pressures. We need stuff like that. That's why I'm stoked for Upton Stout because watching that guy fly off the edge on a corner blitz is going to be so sick.
Exactly.
It's going to be
Nick Martin
so
too.
sick.
Nick Martin too.
Yes.
Yep.
I'm excited for this defense. Robert Saleh comes back. Like, how can you not be excited for this defense?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like last year, I can't remember one blitz that Nick Sorensen drew up, called, where it was like, hey, man, that was good. He got some guy completely unblocked. I never really seen it done like that. It was like every time he called a blitz, it's like, okay, there's the fifth guy, and he gets blocked, and that wasn't particularly creative at all. I think Saleh's going to really improve that. I think the whole idea is on any given snap, the other team shouldn't know how many people are rushing and who those people are. Exactly. Like it could be 4, but maybe one of the D linemen's dropping out, and a linebacker or a safety is like, that's how Seattle's going to be under Mike McDonald.
And Mikel could do that. Mikel could do that because Mikel's so long and athletic.
Yes, 100%.
So I want to see that in terms of like pressure, because you could argue that maybe Bosa hasn't fallen off. It's just like their pass rush is so predictable and vanilla that all you got to do is sort of double him, and no one else is really going to do anything. But maybe if you could, like, make it less predictable, it could be better. And then in terms of coverage too, I feel like the Niners are so, like, you can look at them pre-snap and be like, okay, the middle of the field's closed, it's going to stay closed. Middle of the field's open, it's going to stay open. We need more late post-snap rotation.
Yeah, my question is, though, do you think that it's been bland because of our safeties? Like, to me, it's almost like they don't trust Jair. Mustafa's obviously still really young, and he's coming off the injuries, so who knows if he's going to play the first couple games. Maybe he will, maybe he won't. But it's still not like we have like good safeties where I'm like, okay, I trust them to blitz. Like, I trust them in the run game for sure, but it's like I don't necessarily trust them to blitz and cover at this, like, or on different plays. And so it almost makes me think that that's why it's vanilla, because they're like, hey, we want to blitz a corner, but like we don't trust a safety to cover CeeDee Lamb. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, it's true. Like, if you want to get exotic on defense and you want to start rushing 5, then you have to feel really confident in all of your corners.
Yeah.
Because you're playing man. Yeah. And if you don't, then you're playing zone and rushing 4 and getting, destroyed by the best quarterbacks in the league. You can't play zone and rush 4 against Joe Burrow. He's going to complete 90% of his passes.
I love Joe Burrow, man.
He's so good.
Same. He's really good. That would be awesome if he was the quarterback for the 49ers. That'd be awesome.
It would be pretty good. But Brock Purdy's great.
He's
awesome.
He's
Grant, so look at you. Oh, Grant, you changed. It's usually Brock Purdy sucks. He's terrible.
What? I love Brock Purdy.
I love how he did it just like you two, looking straight at the camera.
Sucked.
No, but Curtis Rourke, he's probably going to take his job, right? 100%.
Well, yeah. I mean, Curtis Rourke, he's taller.
Taller.
Okay, so that means I can play quarterback because I'm 6'7". I'm better than Brock Purdy.
You're legitimately 6'7".
Yeah.
Are you still growing?
Hopefully.
Maybe.
I think a little bit.
I mean, he's 19,
I was like 6'7", like a couple months ago. I think I'm like 6'7", and like I'm like 6'7.5".
Oh my!
So I think
goodness.
a little bit.
You're gonna top out at 6'8". So
hopefully,
did you play any sports growing up?
Soccer.
Were you a goalie?
No, I was a center midfielder.
Really? At 6'7"?
Yeah, that's insane. Maj is the kid. Did the basketball coach like just put him out there, and he's like, he's not gonna score, but he's just a body. He's just a big body.
No, it's because I hit my growth spurt really late. Like grade 12, I was like 6'3", and then I just hit my growth spurt after. Oh, like 6'3" is pretty tall, but yeah.
So you weren't like the header master?
No, I was. That's why if you just get me in the box, I'm heading in and out.
Oh, there you go. There you go.
Come on, center midfielder. Right. Come on.
Center midfielder is usually the best player on the tean.
Come on, let's go.
Come on. I played outside mid because I didn't have a great touch. It was like 2 touches for Grant, maybe 3. We're going to give and go on the wing, okay? Just give it back and run. Give it back and run. Yeah, give it back. Thanks.
That's awesome.
I'm sort of out of things to talk about, but we can keep bullshitting. I don't know. We did good for 34 minutes.
This is such a tough part. Grant, like I said before the show, I don't know how you do this. Like, ask your chat, what can we talk about? There's nothing going on.
I mean, no one's gotten arrested in a week.
Wait, breaking news, Brock Purdy's traded to the Titans. Guys, like, you can't really talk about anything. Well, Grant,
I thought we did a good job talking about scheme and stuff for a minute. I think our brainstorming was helpful. If Kyle were watching and Salah were watching, they'd have to be like, you know what? They actually did give us good suggestions.
Something. I'm just excited for like actual camp when we see the rookies go against the vets and see what we have. Because like I'm excited about Jordan Watkins, right? And like you brought up the good points where he looks the part. He looks like he belongs, size-wise, speed-wise,
So
everything.
far, so good. Yeah.
I want to see him against Demo. Like, that's what I want. I want to see him against Demo. I want it to be something like that where you're like, okay, he's got something, right? Because we know what we have in Demo. It's just stuff like that I'm excited
We got to see Upton Stout against Juwan.
Yep.
Yeah. I think I'm going to a couple
games. Starting
this
nickel,
year.
well, here's the matchup.
Yeah.
You want to prove you're not too short? Well, here's Juwan.
Yeah.
Grant, there's super chats we can read. There was like a bunch.
For real?
Maybe those
okay.
can bring
Instrumental
up topics.
Hampton says over under on Brock Purdy MVP conversation. I don't know what that question means, but
I don't
will he be in the conversation?
MVP conversation.
Yeah, basically, I guess what he's saying.
I think. Listen,
I think so.
I think so. I think so too.
I
believe
without
in
some
Brock.
new wrinkles in the offense, though. Not if Kyle rolls out the same freaking playbook from last year.
That's
he needs
true
to have
too.
some new stuff. And if so, yes. Like if all of a sudden this running back passing game takes off, sure, absolutely. But this offensive line,
can he
know.
though?
What?
Can he roll over the same playbook? Because 50% of that was Debo, so I don't really
That's
know
true.
if he can.
Maybe losing
mean?
Debo will be the best thing that's happened to this team, or the best thing that's happened
I
to
think
Kyle,
so.
because it's actually going
I
to
think
force
so.
him to work.
That's what I think
I think
Purdy's
so.
going to be in the MVP conversation because he's not just going to be focusing on Debo 24/7 and having to be, where's Debo? Where's Debo? Like he can
Debo
actually
was
use
such
other
a drag
players.
on the team last year. It's hard to overstate that.
Debo dragged the team down, and I think
He
with him
did.
leaving, it's going to lift the team up. And I think
Emotionally,
Purdy's
in
going to do
terms
it
of the
better.
targets too.
Yeah.
I just think Debo all around wasn't good for anyone on this team. That's why if anyone talks about like Grant, I know you don't really like when people bring up like how the 49ers had a lot of injuries last year, all that, but like it wasn't just injuries. It was Debo punching Tabor Pepper. It was all those things that just got smushed up into one. And then it's like the Dolphins game, when we lost that, like I know people are like, oh, how did you guys lose to the Dolphins? I think the 49ers by that point of the season, they were just done. Like they didn't give a crap. Like they didn't give a single shit. So I don't know. I think this year Brock Purdy is going to be in the MVP conversation without a doubt.
What I need to see from Brock, I think what we need to see from Brock, we need to see him sort of rise up and be the reason they win some close games. And he did it in the NFC Championship game for sure. He gets credit for that. But last year, like
even the Packers game,
he blew it. He didn't blow it, but he had moments that he could have done it in the Super Bowl and he couldn't get it done.
Yeah.
And then last year, it felt like every time it was a close game, it felt like the Super Bowl over again.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I do think he needs to get to a point to where he is winning those games because of him. But at the same
Russell
time,
Wilson could do that in his prime.
Yeah, for sure. But the only problem I have with the Super Bowl, like people bring up the Super Bowl, you can't tell me that Brock Purdy didn't outplay Patrick Mahomes in that Super Bowl. He did.
No, I'm not saying he was bad in the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
he
was not bad. He played well.
No,
he played well. And
bad.
especially the biggest game of his career, like young guy, like I thought he played well. There was some breakdowns that
he held his own.
Yeah, and there were some breakdowns that happened with the offensive line, but Kyle has said that Brock's job was never to change the offensive line.
I guess
hopefully
all
he gets to that point.
Is like in a game like that, at a certain point, how you played the first 3.5 quarters is kind of irrelevant because you've made it to the end and it's close. And all of a sudden it's like, this is the game. And like, of course, Mahomes gets these little moments and takes advantage because he's one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. And Brock had a couple moments where he could have made himself a champion and put himself in that conversation. And he just didn't capitalize the way that a Hall of Famer would or the Holmes did. And that doesn't mean he's bad. And maybe he will next time.
Yeah.
But
I agree.
Yeah. Okay, we got that. It's Nick for real says, wasn't Ayuk put in doghouse for not putting full effort into routes? According to Eric, that's due to Jimmy at quarterback. Essentially. Yes.
Yeah, it could be.
Yes. And then Brock comes in.
I honestly don't remember why he was put into the doghouse. Was it an effort
came out and said it, but I think the implication was that he did play a lot as a rookie. It was during a down year when people were hurt. He played a lot with Nick Mullins. He came back, and I think they felt that he thought he had I don't know. They want to prove a point to him, like, hey man, you still have to work hard. You have to block. You have to run all your routes.
Yeah, like continue to earn it.
Right. Yeah. So I think they didn't want to show him up and call him out publicly, but I think that's what it was. But I mean, I don't even think that Ayuk I don't think it was communicated well to even him, because I met up with Ayuk's mom. That sounded bad. In Green Bay before their playoff game. He happened to be staying at the same hotel. I went to the bar. She was there talking to some fans. I figured out it was Ayuk's mom, and she figured out it was me. She's like, I like your videos. You always have my son's back. Why did they put my son in the doghouse? I'm like, you're asking me? Like, you're his mom. I think you would. She's like, I don't understand. He works hard. So I just don't think it was really ever communicated to him.
Interesting.
Yeah. That's interesting. Yeah, it is.
Dangerous Days Jeeping says, Maj, I'm 6'8", grew until 20. I was 6'6" at your age.
Yeah, so you could be 6'10", Maj, or 6'9".
No, that'd be crazy. I turned 20 in September.
There you go.
20.
Yeah.
Bang.
There you go.
Bang.
Bang.
Dangerous Dave. I haven't watched your Jeep thing yet, but I have it open on my Gmail right now. I'm gonna watch it and I'm gonna respond to it as soon as it's over. Sorry, I didn't get
Jeeps.
to that.
Is he like off-road his Jeep?
I think so. He made a YouTube video. I gotta watch it.
I've done that once before, and it's actually the craziest experience of all time. Like, if you have not gone off-roading in a Jeep, dude, it's nuts. Like, they will blow your mind. You'll be sideways going like, this thing's going to flip over, and it won't. It won't.
Interesting.
It's nuts. It's so fun, though, dude.
Let me tell you what I did last night at my brother's house for 4th of July. So he just bought an e-bike. Have you ever driven one?
Dude, they're sick.
They're so fun.
Yeah,
so you just start pedaling and it just like doubles your speed really fast. It's like, whoa.
Even e-scooters too. Like e-scooters, they go like 40. You guys don't use kilometer. No. What do you guys use in the States?
Miles per hour.
Miles per hour.
Yeah.
Dude, there's just everything wrong with Canadians. Unlucky, man.
Buddy, what?
Yeah,
it's
sorry.
If Kyle Shanahan doesn't have the most immaculate screens this year, we firing him.
Yeah.
Until you have so much time to make 7 nice screen passes. I want to see 7 for Garendo. They got to make him a weapon, man. And I feel like he's going to have his biggest impact as a receiver because I don't think he's a special running back. I
do think he's pretty he's good though. He's so fast. Like,
I wouldn't give it. Yeah, I wouldn't use the word special.
You know
how many running backs do you use the word special with though? You know what I mean?
5.
Yeah, not a lot.
Yeah, like there's 5 or 6 in the NFL.
Yeah.
Isaac Arendo reminds me of Raheem Mostert. I don't know if that's a good comparison.
Wow.
I kind of
feel like
it's
Raheem's vision.
Yeah, but like, hey, the one run I'm thinking of is Garendo against the Seahawks when he ran like all the way down the field and slid. That looked like Raheem Mostert.
They gave him Mostert's number. They want him to be Mostert, but I think he has way more potential as a receiver than Mostert.
I think he could. I think Garendo could be a very special key to this offense. I'm actually very excited to see Garendo.
I think he's the key to the season in a lot of ways because they can't overuse McCaffrey, and I think he can do a lot of the things that McCaffrey does. He's not going to run the same routes, but it's still you can accomplish the same end goal, which is get the fucking ball out of Brock's hands. Get the fucking ball out of his hand.
Yeah, he's not going to run angle. He's not going to run an angle route like McCaffrey. But I mean, hey, get him on a wheel. Get him on a wheel.
Oh my God! I mean, who's running with him on that shit?
Nobody. Not a linebacker. I'll tell you that right now.
And that's a throw that Brock can make. Like that's definitely a throw Brock can make. We've seen him make that.
You know, I was gonna say, you know how many times we've seen him drop an absolute dot into a wheel route?
Yeah. Anyway, we got a couple more. Dangerous Dave saying we go all out all the time, nearly every weekend. Jeep.
Yeah, dude, it's so fun, man.
Well, he calls himself Dangerous Dave. I'm sure it's for a reason. Yeah. One of my Jeeps is fully built, just climbs mountains.
Yeah. No, dude, I'm telling you, Grant, if you get a chance, dude, it's a blast, dude. It's a blast.
All right. Well, Dangerous Dave, you come down. I'll get you. I'll buy you a round of drinks, and you take me in the Jeep, and you keep me alive. Everyone got counting on you to keep me alive. All right. It's 3:00 on the West Coast. Let's go enjoy the sunlight while we can, guys. Thanks so much for helping me.
Happy 4th of July, even though it's
about guys. Go download Factor. I mean, not download Factor.
I love Factor.
It's so good.
I've been wasting so much money, but like the money's well spent because the meals are so good.
Yeah, I wouldn't call it a waste at all.
No, I wouldn't. No. It's just I've been spending more than I would have wanted.
Especially with Cohn 50 off.
Oh my God, it's such a great deal.
Like you're not losing money. You're actually making money somehow. You know what I mean?
Austin Rodriguez says top players/staff you looking out for in training camp preseason. All right, you want to extend the show? Okay, you can do it that way. Top players/staff you looking out for in staff.
Well, Grant, this is like a big question for you because you're actually going to be there.
Yeah, my question.
Sure, but I mean, we can all answer. Like, who would, if you were there, like, who would you be most interested in seeing?
All the rookies.
Well, this sounds so stupid, but when it comes to training camp, do they really run like special team stuff, or is that like more so preseason?
They definitely do special team stuff in training camp. You can.
So is that something you're looking out for? It's like seeing how like Brent Boyer's like command of the special teams and like seeing how he puts it together.
I feel like that would be one coach.
Yeah, like how does he do his thing? How does he coach?
Yeah,
because like I feel like Nick, that's actually a good point. I feel like if you had to look at coaches for the training camp and preseason, I feel like we already know what Salah brings. But Brian, I'm actually excited to see what he does with the special teams because the special teams is revamped. It's a whole new thing. It's like way different. Our special teams should be way better than it was last year.
And they drafted and signed a bunch of free agents for special teams purposes.
Yes, exactly.
So I'm excited to see that. Plus, I'm also excited as much as we know Salah, he's a different guy. Like he had a head coaching job. He's back. He was in the big apple. You know what I mean? Like,
do you guys?
I'm curious to see how he is now.
Do you guys think Salah's going to be more like young and like not young, but more like old and not as hype as he was?
No. Fred will get on.
Him and Fred will always be hyped. They were kind of a dumpster fire. I don't know.
Him and Fred will always get hyped. I'm telling you. Fred loves
Yes, they have to. That was one of my favorite parts of Salah was when he got so hyped. I loved it.
Yeah.
It was great.
Yeah. So I feel like that.
Dude, I have a fly in my room.
No. I have someone. Hold on. So it seems to me that like every year someone takes center stage at training camp. And it's not a media creation. It's just happens organically. It was Trey Lance for a while. Last year it was Brandon Ayuk and he wasn't even practicing. Who do you think is going to take center stage and be like the most talked about, overanalyzed, scrutinized person this year? Because I think I know who it is.
I feel like it's got, just because of draft position alone, it's got to be Nick Martin, right?
Oh my God. No. You're so close.
No.
I don't think.
Wait, what was the question, Grant?
You think it's going to be out? You think it's going to be Alfred Collins?
No, you're getting warmer.
Grant, say the question again. What was the question?
The first round pick. The first round pick, dude.
I mean, maybe because it's going to be more so about like pass rush and like it's not really like a run. Like you're not really going to see his run stuff until preseason, right?
No, but at 11, he still needs to show something as a pass rusher. And if he's whooping Colton McKivitz, people are going to be juiced. If he's not beating Colton McKivitz, people are going to be concerned. I think anytime you're drafted top 15, you got to show something, man. And a lot of people want to know about you.
That's a valid point, though.
Michael, I'm not saying he won't do well, but like there's going to be a lot of scrutiny on him. And
I mean, maybe
too. Ricky too.
Yeah, I could see that. I agree with Michael, but at the same time, I mean, I'm like so on board with like Jesse's take on Michael, where I think he needs a year to grow into himself and learn. And I think Niner fans are going to be like, But then by the time next year rolls around, I think this guy's going to be an absolute demon. And I still think he's going to offer run defense this year and be a great player. I just don't think we're going to see his fully like untapped potential until like really next year when he gets into that sophomore,
I'm just saying, like when one-on-ones break out and it's like wide receivers, corners over here, O-line, D-line here, wide receiver, and like tight end running backs, safeties, linebackers over here. I'm looking for Michael. Where's Michael? And I'm not doing it to be like Michael lost one rep, he's a bust. But I just feel like if we're being honest, that's what we're most interested in is him. What do you look
I already
like?
know.
Are you Alden Smith or are you Cleveland Farrell? Or like,
I already know.
Advanced in your learning curve, or where are you? Because
the difference between Alden Smith and Cleveland Farrell.
You know what I'm saying? Like, are you this
such a big gap?
Long-arm freak who's going to get unlocked in this defense, or are you going to be this guy who was drafted way too high for the wrong reasons?
You know what I'm thinking of right now? Grant, I'm like picturing the video on Twitter right now of Michael Williams losing to Colton McKivitz, and Grant's gonna post it. Oh, I can't wait.
100%.
He's gonna lose one thing. He's gonna lose one-on-one, and Grant's gonna be like, "Oh yes, I got it on video."
Do you think?
I'm not gonna tell people that Michael's trash if he's not, and I don't think that. But if it's clear like this guy's not a pass rusher or he's not an edge rusher, like we'll learn that. But I don't expect to. I think he's going to be good. I think he's going to. I like Michael Williams. I think he's going to be good. And he's going to show that he has the traits to develop.
Do you think if Nair has a good camp and preseason that he gets a roster spot?
Yes, I think he's competing with Bergen. Right, and Bergen was like the last pick in the draft. I think he's like a glorified.
I think he's gonna make it over Bergen. He's
a better receiver than Bergen. Bergen has to be such a good returner,
and
like,
Trent Taylor's
Watkins
hurt,
is a
right?
returner too.
Trent Taylor's hurt, so they're not gonna like. Trent's not gonna take a spot, right?
Watkins could be the returner. He's way more He's much more explosive than Junior Bergen.
Yeah. Watkins is fast.
Yeah. Anyone else in Trent? I mean, Michael, obviously. Alfred, yes. I mean, all the rookies for sure. Anyone else? I think Ricky's important. He didn't really have a training camp last year.
Yeah.
Ricky,
I feel like Ricky Ricky has to prove that he's also injury prone. Like I feel like Ricky, like right now, he's kind of like teetering to that level of like you might be injury prone. So he has to kind of show like better not be injured during training camp, not injured during preseason, and like play the first 10 games of the regular season because like right now it's kind of looking that way that he's kind of injury prone. And
then one more, Mac Jones. Not like that there's a quarterback controversy or competition, but like, what do you look like? You're a quarterback. Quarterbacks are always interesting. He's new.
Yeah.
Like, should the team feel confident if Brock gets hurt for a month that you can come in and win? Or are you a tire fire? Like, did you lose your confidence? Are you terrible? Is Tanner Mordecai better than you? Like, I think that backup quarterback position is interesting because it's not Josh Dobbs and freaking Brandon Allen. Thank God.
You know why I think it's important that Mac Jones plays well in the preseason?
Why?
Because if some team has their starting quarterback go down, they could trade for him.
Yeah.
That could be valuable for the Niners.
Yeah. I think Kyle Shanahan should think like that, man. You can turn guys off the scrap heap into trade assets.
Yeah.
Do that all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, we've seen coaches in the past do that. Andy Reid used to do that.
Yep.
Do that. No.
Yeah. 100%. So.
And then last one, and then we'll leave. Jake Moody. No one cares about the kicker, but you have
Dude, I don't even care. At this point,
Jake care about Jake. He's still there.
Grant, I swear to God, if he misses one kick, actually, you know what? No. I think at training camp, they do a battle. If he loses, you let the other guy start. Like I don't even want it to where like, oh, just let Jake Moody just try another regular season out. No, I don't want Jake Moody as my kicker. I don't even know. How does he still have a job?
But
how does this guy still have a job?
A practice competition against Greg Joseph, does that really make you more confident?
No, you know what I mean? Because Jake Moody during training camp, he's a great kicker. Like this guy's he's the best, might be the best kicker in the league.
Like 70-yard kicks. Wow.
Yes. Yeah. Wow, that's great. But can you hit a 45-yarder in a game? No.
Can you make the extra point when we need you to?
No, he can't. So if Jake Moody starts the season off as like the starting kicker, if he misses one kick, yank him. Like that's what you have to do. And maybe if it's like a 60-yarder, don't. But if it's like extra point,
I feel like there's nothing he could do to change my mind on him at this point. I'm sorry. He could make 50 kicks in a row in practice. I'm like, I don't care.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say like 50 in a game. Like in
a game.
Like, bro, this that would have to change your mind.
Dangerous Dave says, you owe me a lemonade. All right, I'll get you a lemonade. I'll get you a lemonade. And then he says, this is Dave Barclay, Jeep Channel, bro. You know, of course I know you.
Oh, yeah.
Dave Barclay. All right. That's the
Grant, I'm not going to lie.
Watching.
Grant, for the rest of the regular season, you should just do, like, not the regular season, the off season. You should just do food reviews. Like, you have great food reviews. I'm not gonna lie, and they always do great. Like your last one has like 6K views.
Thank you. And I think now during the off season when nothing's happening, probably a good time to do it. And then my idea is anytime I'm on the road, gotta do a food review. Like week 2 New Orleans, that's gonna go hard.
Yeah, No, he hasn't.
Have you been to America?
Me?
Yeah.
I've been to LA, San Francisco. I know.
He's been to San Francisco. He corrected himself real fast. Like, I don't think they say that there.
I'm good.
I don't think they say that there. No,
I almost said it.
LA, San Francisco.
LA, Anaheim.
You've been to Vegas, right?
Arizona,
West Coast.
Yeah.
That's cool. It's West Coast.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. But yeah, New Orleans, I'm going to bring people there. I'll do some more. And now I'll Maj, you got to help me edit them for TikTok.
I got you.
Maj has been editing for me. If you guys haven't noticed, my TikToks, Maj killing him, man. Thank you.
Appreciate you, man.
I'll be in a couple of the games though.
Huh?
I'll be at a couple of the games. I'm going to I think the Cardinals game, and then in Arizona, and then I'll go to the Panthers game. I think in San Fran.
Oh, nice.
Oh, you said it. Oh, San Fran. And he's from America. From America.
Whatever.
Thanks for watching, guys. Have a great Saturday.